Hello, my friends. It's Rachel Archelaus here, and I'm with another incredible friend. Her name is Jean Berry, and I met her through Carrie Roldan, who you've seen. And I just, I don't know what to say about Jean. I feel like Jean, not that she's not grounded and amazing and wonderful, but when you know her, you know she kind of walks on the clouds in the most beautiful way. She has a whimsy and a beauty and a lightness. And whenever I'm talking with Jean, I always feel inspired to create more wonder and possibility. And I don't know, it's like a different wavelength than that I'm used to. Like it's just uniquely Jean. So I'm glad you're going to get to spend some time with her. We don't know what we're going to talk about, and she might introduce herself differently. So, what do you think about that, Jean?
I I kind of like it. I'm going to own that for a little minute and just hang out on the cloud and um and just walk there for a second and see how it feels. Just walking on the cloud. Um it actually kind of works for me. I do spend a lot of time trying to get grounded.
Yeah, and I mean, you've spent your life like it's not like you're not grounded. Like you were on the board of so many charity organizations and like literally helping thousands of people on their necessities, and you still help people create physical products in their business. It's not that you don't do that. It's just I feel like the essence of you is in that like possibility zone where you're dreaming and communing with the angels.
Yeah, well, I've always liked that term possibilitarian. I think that that's really I can hang out there, absolutely. I One time I did a I was well, it actually was on the when I was at the board of the food shelf since you brought it up. I They did a personality assessment of all the board members because we were bringing on a new executive director, and they wanted to know how this person would fit in with all those kind of things. And the guy who was running the test was really intrigued to talk to me. He said, because most of the people on these boards are really these corporate, very linear kind of people. It's pretty predictable what kind of personality assessment you get. He's like, but I want to talk to you because this will be fascinating. And it was a test about what motivates you, which is was really interesting, a very different kind of test. And it came out basically what you just said about living in possibilities, is that what motivates me is hearing about a possibility. If it's possible, I'm like, I'm in. And if I can enroll a couple people to do it with me, then we're full on like this is happening. So yes, possibilitarian. I will hang out in that today.
I really like that. So that's a really fascinating topic. What motivates you? Oh, hang on one second. Something. I was trying to shut down some more stuff, but I think I almost shut you down. Um,
Well, I need to always close my email because it dings all the time. So I close that. So that's good.
I think about this a lot because, well, motivate is a weird word, but like, inspire to grow or whatever. What did you find? What does motivate you?
What does motivate me? Honestly, anything that's possible. It's kind of it doesn't fit inside of any realm. If I hear what's possible on, getting water to people in the desert, I'm all in. Like it
Mhm.
sounds amazing. And then the same thing about even a painting. Like, okay, it is possible that we can actually add gold leafing into the painting. Like I get just as excited about that.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. And it so fits with my view of you because if you are in the clouds already, it's super easy to just like boom, 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 like go down to all of these exciting little situations and like add your take on it or whatever it is that you're going to do there, whether you're going to add the gold leaf or help with the water. And then you don't have to do any of the cleanup. right? It's not your
Right.
thing necessarily. You just get to swoop in whenever you want. And I like, you are such a big picture person, and I think that really matches.
Yeah, it is interesting because I'm going to stay on the food shelf because somehow we landed there. When I was actually the president of the board for a couple of years, and at one point we actually came in with a very sticky personnel issue, which normally as the board we didn't really get involved with, but it actually involved the executive director, and like so then you get involved, and it was totally out of my comfort zone. Like that is not something that I clean up. And one of the people on our board was just so incredibly talented at that. So we went into this meeting and I just sat there just holding the space. It was really my job to just sit there and just hold the space and say, I believe in this. I believe in you. I believe in this place. And he just walked through this beautiful river path of this conversation. And he was so good at it. You start to see everyone's talent space and
Yeah.
how good he was at this conversation. And at the end, everyone agreed, everyone was happy. Like, oh my God, I just need him with me all the time for that to clean up those things, right?
Oh, what I'm finding too in talking about this is like permission. I don't often use that word, but in seeing you and in recognizing your genius, and in that example of you holding the space in that moment and letting someone else's genius be to directly have that loving confrontation. I've been this year really heavily delegating all the stuff in at least one of my businesses, and I haven't been doing much in it, and yet it's still growing and it's like functioning better than ever. And I'm putting my energy into a lot more of the other stuff that I do, like publishing and writing. And it's felt incredible. The other day I thought, wow, I'm loving everything I'm doing right. I love the ratios of everything I'm doing right now. And what you're talking about is like, it's okay to do you. And I think I just needed to catch up with that a little bit. So, like, thank you for your example and helping me realize that.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I love that, and I love seeing you too, as this perfect example of saying, well, lean into what you love, like just keep doing what you love. It's all perfect. And it doesn't mean that then something's going to go away. There's that old saying that says
Right.
something like, you can't drive two trains at one time. And I would always take that to mean, well, you can only do one thing, and people would use it
Yeah.
as this compelling reason of why you have to choose one thing and just go do that. And I think it's just so not true.
I know. I thrive more when I have at least five things going on. And at the beginning, I also fell into that of like, oh, I've got to pick and then I've got to stick with it. And so it was like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And it was an impossible question to answer, because we change. Even though I've loved what I've been doing for the last 5 years, it keeps changing, and it's really up to us to notice when we're being called to something else, because we're evolving, expanding beings.
Well, exactly. I've been painting for many years, but a couple years ago, I kind of put it as the back shelf. I wasn't really spending much time on it. I wasn't finding a lot of time in my calendar, and it wasn't. It called to me, and of course, it's sitting in my studio all the time, so I'm on it. But I I had a Facebook page for my painting and all those kind of things. They were all out there, and fascinatingly, my my painting page got hacked sometime last spring. It got totally hacked, and Facebook actually took it down. I didn't even notice because I wasn't in there. I wasn't looking at it. And then I started painting again, just like really prolifically. And so I thought, oh, well, maybe I could, go find that page again, and I could put some things on there. Well, of course, there was no resuscitating it at that point. I said my little plea to Facebook gods, and they're like, yeah, no. That's forget that. But what happened was something incredibly magical, is that all these people started to show up because then I, was putting my story out. I was saying, well, Facebook took me down. And so then they all showed up and they're like, oh, we want to look at your art. And then I was able to hook it up actually to a shopping platform, which was really cool, which I've never had it hooked up before. And so now I have prints and I have my paintings, and all of this is happening, and it's so amazing how those things just kind of roll out. And what I might have perceived as, Facebook taking something down as a negative thing, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
I love that. This also ties in a lot to your miracle maker, moniker. Like, it's the same thing of like, here's Jean sitting with the angels in the clouds coming down to like, insert herself into various exciting things. And if it happens to involve you, you're going to experience a miracle. And Jean experiences many miracles all the time. It's like her norm. And it all works together. What what does miracle mean to you?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I use it very synonymously with magic, and where it's something that just shows up and to surprise and delight, and that makes it all easier and more fun. And of course we can go miracle like body alignment or any one of those things also. And yet that, interestingly, I don't call that so much a miracle anymore. I'm thinking, no, not so much. That's just you aligning. What's so different about that, right?
I like that. It's your norm. Miracles is your norm.
Yeah, that's kind of where that lives. A friend of mine flew down last week and spent a few days with me, and we sheltered in place together. And because Austin was all closed again. And so she's sitting down at my desk and she's like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, you're in my space. We're going to have a miracle. What do you want? Just pick one.
Nice. I love that you own it.
Yeah, after all this time, and although I have to tell you, when I first put my game out, and I put the tagline 100 days of miracles, I was really nervous about that, because I'd hung out in a world where a miracle was a very specific act,
Hmm.
and relatives and everything else like that would view it a different way than I certainly do.
That's cool. I've
But
actually
I'm all
been
right with it
thinking
now.
about your game right now. Like, maybe we should pull a card and then let that
Ooh,
lead the conversation.
all
Should I
right,
get
cool.
mine or do you have yours right
Oh,
there?
I got it right here. I got it right here. There it is.
Okay.
Oh, this is a brand new one. I just opened. They're nice, crisp cards. They're so nice. They get kind of little chips out of them after a while. These ones are brand new. I actually recently had all my inventory shipped to my house, which was fascinating, just because the company that did it before. Another thing, though, it's one of those things. They were getting out of the fulfillment business and they didn't want to store stuff anymore. And I was gonna look for another fulfillment company. I'm like, well, no, actually, just ship them here. And we'll figure it out from there. It'll be good. And there are plenty of high school kids who will come pack stuff. It'll
Hmm.
be fine. All right, angel card. I think angel card.
Sure.
We'll do an angel card. See which one flies out for us.
I like hanging out with Eugene. You never know what's gonna happen.
It's true. Oh, there it is. Set to the side. Ooh, fascinating.
Ooh, wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay, we need to draw a peacock card too. Oops, one fell out. Actually, two fell out. I guess we get those ones. Perfect.
Having.
Having and being. That's all. Having and being. living inside our wisdom, having a being. Probably couldn't be anything more perfect, hanging out with Rachel is, live in your own personal wisdom. And then you can have him be whatever you want.
That's our truth around here.
I'm all right with that.
It makes me think of Intimate Alien too, because she definitely embodies that. That's kind of a funny way to put it, but she embodies that like to the T. And it's funny, when I think about maybe the difference between me and her, obviously she doesn't live on Earth full time. She doesn't absorb all the stuff around us. And so I feel like maybe there's a little bit of striving in me, even that I wasn't aware of, where I'm like striving to be more like her. And I'm not really, it's okay, but I wasn't really aware of that. So that's an interesting thing. Maybe I need to like even relax more, like let go of that striving to be better. Wow, that's a big thing we just uncovered.
Wow. So striving to be better, or like more like another entity, right? Some more like something else, like seeing that there's a missing here, and so we're going to go over there and do that.
Yeah, like she's better than me, you know?
Ooh.
Which she's different. But she's not better. She's just different.
I've been watching this series on is it on, oh, it's on Gaia TV, on extra dimensionals. It's interviews with people who channel in extra dimensional. So you should probably be interviewed on there.
I know. Was Ruben Langdon?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know him. We've talked before, and
Have
I've
you?
interviewed him. He's really great.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the series a lot. It's pretty cool, and it's just fascinating to. Um, Someone just recently said exactly what you said, is that it's not like there's a higher being that's connecting. And I think that there is kind of this wish, especially in people who grew up in a very, maybe a religious home or something like that, where we have an over god, the overlord, who knows everything, does everything, and directs everything. And so there's kind of a wish in not being in that belief structure of having kind of, well, maybe there's an all-knowing benevolent being who will help absolutely everything show up in my world, and then finding out, no, actually we're that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting to listen to those interviews. I haven't listened to all of them, but maybe half. What viewpoint they're all coming from? Like some of them are more technical about dimensions and stuff like that, and some of them are more emotional, and it's interesting. And I know a lot of those people personally who are the channels, and like to see what their lives are like. And it's an interesting world to be in when you're part of bridging dimensions, you know and yeah, how people view that.
Hmm. I, I just had this thought, like, that my aunt will watch this and she'll be like, she's going to hell. It's okay, Aunt Verge, I'm okay.
We're all okay. Everything's okay. It's God approved content.
Yes, completely God approved content.
I talked to Jesus. Like one of the first times I talked to Jesus, he was like, he said he didn't like being called Lord. And I thought that was awesome. Like I get it.
That's amazing.
We're all our own Lord.
It's true.
Except for Scott Disick, he's the Lord.
Well, and I think if you claim a moniker as Lord, you have Lord of the Dance, you have, like if you pick ones that actually have, that you want to be described that way, then I think you can go
Yeah,
there.
and that could be so fun. Like I call myself the ease queen a lot to myself. I've only said it out loud a few times, but I totally believe it. I'm definitely the ease queen. Um, and but there can be many. I don't have to be the only one.
Yeah.
And you're you're Queen Jean to me. So
There we go. Oh, so and I have to show you this queen, this dog that I just finished this weekend. So her official name then is Shreya, Queen or Sovereign of the Heart Portal.
nice.
So that's her official name.
She looks very confident.
Yes, incredibly. I love those eyes.
Yeah, the
Those
stance, like the straight arms and the leaning back a little bit,
yeah.
and the cape. Is that a cape?
It is a cape. It is definitely a cape. It's kind of blowing in the wind. So this is actually a
Yeah.
magic carpet that's blowing. Like it's
Uh-huh.
not a static thing. So
Very cool.
I worked on that painting for a long time, almost 2 years, I think. And it never was done. I'm like, when is this going to be done? Like, really? When is this painting going to be done? And it wasn't until I got the gold foiling. Where's my gold foiling? Oh, it's sitting here somewhere. Um, in a little bin, gold foiling. I'm like, oh, she just needs gold foiling. That's it. And
That's
when we
awesome.
got that done, then we're like, oh yes, now we can be complete. We can be totally complete. Gold foiling is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I was thinking of something a little random before we got on this call because Carrie and I were having a conversation this morning about they, them, and how, you can change how you want to be viewed by using different pronouns, and like you may find in the middle of your life that you want to change that. And we were talking about Jonathan Van Ness because she thinks that now he refers to him as they, them. Uh,
Okay.
they refer to themselves as they, them. Uh, and I told her that I like that too. It's not necessary, but I do relate to that being non-binary. And she had no idea. And then I was fixing my hair, and I was like, I feel my most attractive, and I am most attracted to androgynous people or the androgynous look. And I just thought that was interesting. And I thought you have been delving into the whole idea of the whole scope of queerness and pronouns in the last few years. So, is there anything you've discovered about yourself?
It is fascinating, and I think I've just been so conditioned to be she that and my daughter is dating someone who goes by they them, and it is a whole mind thing to get your head around. And now that I've spent some time really aggressively monitoring my talk, I'm getting way better at it. And that opens the door, that opens more doors of being able to say, well, this would be a really cool world if everyone was simply they them. I think it would be really cool. There would stop being this artificial division if everyone simply went by that. And it's not about taking away femininity or masculinity or anything else like that. It's about leveling the playing field. And even you can imagine on a job application, if the name was somewhat, well, Jean is an androgynous name, that they wouldn't know because it's not saying he him or they she her in there. Sometimes they say I in there, and of course they don't necessarily know, but there's a little box on a lot of applications that says male female. I'm not seeing the benefit of it. Like, what is the benefit of that? And so having it is just so artificial. And then you see all the like the romance languages where there's words that are considered male and female, which is just weird as heck to me. Just have one the one like I don't get it. By the kind of the you put on the front of it, it makes it male or female. And does it add to richness in our culture? I'm not seeing it. I think there's so many other ways to that's not divisive. And I think that all those kind of terms are simply divisive and damaging to people who don't relate. I saw a USA Today article that did a poll on how people felt on the spectrum of feeling masculine, feminine, or non, or anything else. And they said for people over, I think, 40, it sat, and these are people who will publicly state what they are. It said that about 3 to 4% identified as non-binary or an opposite sex or something else, and somewhere on the LGBT on the queer spectrum, somewhere on the queer spectrum. And but as they went to the younger and younger age, and by the time they hit millennials, it was fully 10% of people. And they also pointed out that in the animal kingdom, that stays pretty consistent. About 10% will be non-binary or opposite of what they appear or whatever. There's going to be some difference. So we're totally alienating 10% of our population for a language, for a word. I don't get it. I really don't. So that's my opinion.
I'm with you about representation. And I have to say, most of the time when I'm filling out forms or whatever, there's two options. But when I moved to Utah and I got my license here, there was an option for being non binary in your gender affiliation. And I don't know if it was an Act Blue form, like, giving to political, like they're like a political fundraiser site. There were at least 30. It was somewhere where I was donating money. There were 30 options for gender.
Whoa.
And I'd never even seen some of these before. I mean, it was incredible. I don't know, it was amazing. So it's not everywhere, of course. And most of the time, you have to choose male or female. But we're getting there. And I think with the youth now growing up and being the ones who make these forms and have all these policies and stuff, I think we're going to get there. And it's fun to watch for me. It's fun to see more inclusion and more thought and more laws to back it up. Like the Supreme Court just decided that you can't be fired or discriminated against on the basis of your, gender affiliation or sexual orientation. And so that's really exciting, you know, but it's not going to change overnight. And I also, I really believe that how we are treated and what opportunities are presented to us is based on our vibration and not any external factor. And so there isn't really any blocked opportunity. There's no discrimination that we're not in agreement with on some vibrational level. And so I think there is a fair shake going down if you do act as the creator of your reality. Like we don't most people don't know that. Most people don't know how to regulate their vibration and that they create the events in their life. And it's not something that I think everyone needs to know because that's not necessarily why they're here. We're all on an individual journey, but it's interesting to watch how this conflict right now is like we're kind of at the height of knowing about what those letters in the LGBTQIA plus spectrum mean because it's getting so much attention, but also we're having to see a lot of the people who would rather it not be there and what their opinions are. So it's like we're getting this happening right now, but I'm seeing the upswing in inclusion just because there are so many more people connected by social media right now who have a positive voice and are exclaiming it and calling their governors and lawmakers and making a change.
Yeah, no, it's all good stuff. I had a friend call me the other day saying, "Okay, I don't know who else to ask. Explain what all the letters are."
Yeah.
So it's good to know.
Yeah, well, it's a funny thing, but I saw a couple weeks ago on YouTube. Um, I don't even remember who posted it, but it was a post about how SpongeBob is celebrating Pride Month, and everyone thought that that meant he needed to be gay or they needed to be gay, whatever. But it was really that a couple years ago, he, I guess, said he was asexual, right? So to come out doesn't mean you're gay. You could be a lots of different things.
Yeah, no. I thought that was incredibly funny that, the makers of such a long-standing fictional non-humanoid character got to choose an affiliation. That's actually pretty funny.
Like it. I like it because then a lot of people in that post were like, "What does that mean? What is asexual?" Because they'd never heard about it
Sure.
before, and so it's great. Like the more mainstream all this gets, the easier it'll be. The more it won't really matter. You'll be what you want to be, and there won't be any fear around it. And that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm totally with you. I am totally with you, and I think that that's partly what the new generation is doing too. This millennial group is set out to make it normalized, and I'm kind of excited about that.
Me Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I want to show you this. A friend of mine, a friend that came to visit me, we got me this cool
Ooh.
pyramid. I know it's sitting on my desk, and and then on the bottom it has this copper gold thing going on, and she says she opened a portal that connects us, so she has one just like it. And so I'm kind of digging it. It's really fun to think about, those kind of portals that you can create to shift the planet planes. Not that I know that any of that means, but I find it incredibly fascinating and fun.
It's pretty too.
And it's pretty. It's pretty. It's sitting on my desk.
I love pretty things. Actually, we've had them for a long time, but can you see those boots back there? I put it up on
Yes,
top of those books. Yeah, those are really pretty too.
I like the boots. Where do you find glittery boots? Those are pretty awesome.
All right, I have to get them. You'll see my cut
Okay.
off sweatpants shorts, but that's
Oh,
okay.
nice.
So me and DSW have a little relationship, and
Yes.
you can't really not.
Whoa. Oh, they are not just sequiny. They are like bejeweled.
Yeah, I mean they're way sparklier in person, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But so I love shoes, and I got an email from DSW about a year ago, and they were like, "Don't you love these?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yes, I love these." So I just bought them, and I've worn them maybe once. Because where do you wear these?
Well, it is a
Um,
very good
but
point.
I've displayed them about my space so that I get to look at them every day.
I do like that. Oh,
Yeah,
see, I hadn't seen the side of your haircut. See, now I saw the side of your haircut. I like that too. Very nice.
thank you.
It looks good.
Yeah, there's no hair like on the side.
Uh-huh.
Just it's like all shaved, and then there's the hair on the top.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of
That's
have
fun.
similar hair, except you have
We
got
do.
the hair.
Yeah, I've got the hair on the bottom and then actually dye it dark.
Oh my god, you do?
Oh yeah, this is not my natural color. The
Oh
natural color
wow.
is more something up here. Oh, you can't really see it.
I never knew
It's
that.
getting grayer every day. Yeah, have to dye both parts. So we bleach this, we dye that.
Wow,
It's quite a
that's neat.
process. My
So
naturopath says it's bad for me, but you know what? There's some things that I just don't believe.
I know, I think that goes to back to like how I didn't realize I was striving to be more like say intimate alien. And then the feeling of that relief of not doing that makes me feel like, woohoo, I'm human. Like be more human, more into all this stuff, like more into the hair dye, more into I eat Snickers all the time now. And it feels amazing. And yeah, like if we're vibrational, it doesn't matter. Like it's what we believe about it. It's not the actual hair dye. Like nothing can harm us if we're just see through nothingness, you know?
It's true. We're mostly air. So what
Mhm.
still fascinates me, like I can touch me and say, no, there, I'm here. But we're mostly air.
Yeah, we're just a projection. And I want to project someone who's eating a Snickers.
I totally get that. I love those Snickers commercials. I thought they were the funniest thing that came on commercials in a long time. The ones that they did with Betty White.
I never
The
saw
oh,
them.
you don't, oh, it was so funny. Look them up sometime. The Betty White Snicker commercials. Very funny. She's just so funny anyway.
Yeah, I have to look that up. So how do you feel about beauty? Like are you wearing makeup?
I am not wearing makeup, but I got new lipstick today. And so I do have lipstick on, and I do like that. I like the lipstick.
I like it too.
And
You would never know
and
you weren't wearing makeup. Your skin is so even.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it's just the light.
That's okay. I mean,
But and I had fake eyelashes all last year, and I loved them. And then, after Corona, I couldn't go in and have them put on, so I had to take them off. But I might go back in and get them because they're pretty special. I do like the
you
fake
were. They totally go with your like butterfly angel vibe.
eyelashes. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I might have to still do that again. And I actually sold cosmetics when I was in my when I was 18 till I was like 30. I sold cosmetics. And
Wow.
so I was just, like when my skin was perfect, I was, putting all this makeup on. And yeah, I sold makeup for a long time. Did these classes called color analysis where you draped fabrics in front to see what color is the best colors for you. And that was actually really fun. I enjoyed it. And just the older get, I'm like, I just can't deal with makeup. Although every so often, I just want to, and then I
Mhm.
do. And usually, then it involves glitter, and
Yes.
so that
Pretty
makes
great.
total sense to me.
Yeah. It's funny. I would think you were more into it, but maybe that's just because you do look very put together even when you're not wearing makeup. Like your eyes always look
It's the
defined.
glasses.
Yeah, it's neat. And your skin is very nice. And you're always surrounded by color. So
Oh,
yeah.
maybe that's it. You see, you put enough color out here, then it looks like I'm just white.
Maybe, I don't know. But that's so neat about you selling makeup. I never knew that. Can you say like what brand it was or was it for a bunch?
It was a brand called Artistry. It was around for many years. I think if they still exist. I don't know.
That's neat. So you
That's the
were
name of it.
pretty into it. Did you apply makeup to people?
No, I was never licensed as what do they call them? A beautician,
Cosmetologist? Oh, beauty.
cosmetologist. Yeah, I never had a license, so I just taught people how to put it on themselves.
Neat.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it was fun. You learn about different eye shapes and face shapes and what you can do to make them work. And after that, I actually worked for a guy who taught community ed classes. And he had this machine back in the 90s that would put it was a computer program that would put different hair on your head so you can see, now you can do it online. You just, you can go look at hairstyles, just put your picture in and you can see what they look like. But back then they didn't have anything like that. So people would come to these community ed classes. I had this big machine that would project their face into all these hairstyles. And then we ran a little video and they'd get a VHS to go home with so they could watch their hairstyles.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
It was was so funny. And so there would be like 12 women in these classes all over, around the city. And they were mostly held in like high school classrooms or something like that. And they paid me like $100 to show up for the night and run this computer so that I could put hairstyles on people's heads. It was
Wow,
very funny.
that's awesome. This reminds me of something you said a year ago when we were at the Star Being retreat. I think you said, because we're looking at ourselves on social media with all these filters, are we going to start looking like that? Like for real in real life? It was a paraphrasing thing, but do you remember you saying that?
Hmm. Not exactly, but I'm kind of intrigued by it.
I know, and I think it's totally possible because we're training our brain to perceive by looking at stuff and taking in things, right?
Well, they say though that like your spouse and people that look at you over a long period of time, that they actually see a conglomeration of all your ages. That they don't
Mm,
actually even see you as you are right now because they have the whole memory of all these different looks, how you've looked at all different places, and that's actually what they see when they look at you, as opposed to every little shift or change or anything else. That's why they don't notice if you get a new shirt or something.
yeah, I totally believe that because yeah, we see all the like, oh, I got a tiny little mark here or a tiny little line here, and they would not. They don't recognize any of that stuff.
No,
Yeah,
no.
they don't know
And
when
that's
you
why
get
we
a
keep getting younger, though. This is why we keep looking younger all the time.
yeah. I think. I mean, I think I can tell when I'm feeling older, when I'm looking too much at actually what is happening, I definitely appear older to other people. But for the most part in my life, I've felt young and I've looked really young to people. Like even as much as 2 years ago, a huge comment I would get is, "Oh, are you here for school?" And like I'm 38 right now, so that was like 36. I mean, I'm far from school, even though I am in school at the moment. But yeah, and I thought about that too much, and I thought, oh, these people are crazy. And then I started looking older, and then I realized what was happening, and then I started looking younger again. So we totally are in control of it.
Excellent. That is a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, if people start complimenting you, don't question it, because then you'll start going in the wrong.
Really. Just say thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Oh,
I
yes,
got
I
this.
am. Thank you. I am here for school. Of course. Yeah, it's pretty good. How is Austin? I I know you haven't been getting out much in the last few months. What is it like there right now? Is everyone just
Well,
staying
Austin's
home, or are
very
you able to
closed.
drive
Yeah.
around?
People are pretty much staying home, and Texas itself opened May 8th, and now it's closing again. But Austin never really issued a full on open order. Like Austin has always been much more closed. And we did go out to the Oasis, which is it's a big restaurant bar complex that overlooks Lake Travis. And we were disappointed at the volume of people that were there. No practicing of social distancing. There was just a lot of people there. Everyone wanted to get out, I guess. And I just find it's easier to stay home.
Mm.
So, I mean, I could have a worse place to be sheltering in place. So this is quite lovely. And over the holiday, I think I'm gonna write, paint, and swim. That's pretty much what's going to happen.
Nice.
And I'm probably not going to turn on my computer.
I love that.
Yeah.
Eric and I are going to Teton National Park for a couple days.
Whoa.
Kind of the same hope, like no computer, just outside. Um, like we're able to, social distance because we're just going to be hiking. So yeah, we're excited about that. My lawn people just came, so if you start to hear that, let me know. But
Okay.
yeah, it's been interesting. We've noticed that too. So here in the wild, wild west, like people just do whatever they want, and restaurants are open, stores are open, and we're still getting takeout. We haven't actually been into a restaurant, but they're full. Like they're totally full, and I'm of the mindset where like I want people to be able to do whatever they want, but I know there's still a lot of concern still, so I'm still being respectful.
Well, the countries that where everyone wore masks for a specific period of time, they're all over their hump. They flattened their curve. They're all opening up. And the country that decided we were too free to ask everyone to do something um, is going to have a 4th of July at home. So,
Yeah. Actually, can we talk about something else too?
mhm.
So I don't know how you'll feel about this, but now it's changing. What do I want? Well, I want to talk about wealth
Mm.
because I've noticed that a lot of people who are in privileged situations kind of downplay it when they're speaking in a way like where other people will be listening because they don't want to downplay all the people who are having a hard time right now. And they don't want to brag or anything. But I feel like I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it should be okay to talk about how great something is or how wonderful life is just as much as it's okay to not feel good and talk about that?
Yeah, there's this straddling of being sensitive to people's feelings, and there's also the place of hope. And if all the people, one of the reasons the Kardashian show is so wildly popular is that people like to watch them get on their private jet and go somewhere. Like they like to watch it. They want to imagine themselves doing that sometime. And it's a little piece of hope. Now, I'm not saying that you flaunt that in someone's, face or anything else like that, but for the people tuning in, it's kind of like that vibration thing, right? They're like, I want to be attached to that kind of vibration. Now, I suspect they're seeing the lack that they don't have it and they do, and that's kind of the other issue that's going on. But um, we had our best month ever in June. And I think that there is a need to say that some things are still working, that the world is still going, it's still functioning, it's still possible, it is still able to make money, wealth is still flowing, there's not really a lack, and it may be a call to shift vibrations, to shift spaces. And I don't feel like I'm insensitive to the plight of 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 people. And yet it becomes easier and easier the more you stay at home and don't go anywhere, right? And yet it's still about living inside of our joy. I mean, if you're excited about something, shout it to the world. Like, really?
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. I think it is about joy. It's like if you're excited to share, maybe I'm uncomfortable with it now because I have shifted my life so much and that I don't feel like I'm doing anything I don't know. I never really do anything I don't want to do, but I've allowed myself to have more flexibility lately and more joy in my day and more space and more time to myself. And it feels so incredible. And I feel like a new level of wealth and a new level of self love in that. And yeah, like the thought of making a YouTube video about that, I guess, is a little. The thoughts in my head start turning around like, are you sure you want to talk about that? Are you sure you want to share about that? It's almost like a little self conscious. But at the same time, that's why I do what I do. Like I share my life and I share that you can create anything. And so, yeah, it's interesting. I think I'm integrating and I'm like settling into that idea of it's okay for me to be as wealthy as I want to be and to still talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember about in mid May, I saw a social media post from a woman who said that someone totally trolled her and said, "Don't buy anything from this woman. She's just shamelessly, continuing to promote during, a pandemic and all of this social upheaval." And everyone else on the post was like, "What?" Like, so you want everyone on the planet to stop their businesses while everything that is working? A lot of things aren't working right now, so let's let the things that are working work. Keep your business going, keep employing the people you employ, keep supporting the people you support, keep doing the things you do. Like, that all is needed on the planet.
Yes, definitely. And congratulations on your biggest month.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've added more people to my staff this year too. And it's great. It's awesome. It's yeah. So I once in a while I watch this YouTube channel, The Financial Diet, and it's funny. It's called The Financial Diet, and they help people save and get more ideas of how to make more money and everything. It's really beautiful. It's like geared toward millennials. It's run by women, and but it's also at the same time anti-rich, which is interesting. So this one video was about her experiences working with really wealthy people throughout her life, and those instances just happened to be like she was talking about them focused on the negatives and the bad behavior she experienced and stuff like that, which I totally get. Everyone behaves badly once in a while, and maybe this was a little bit more extreme. But the thing that stuck with me was as people get wealthier, they live in a bigger and bigger bubble. Like they detach from the rest of society. They see people less. They look down the street, they're walking down the street and they don't see what's actually there. They just are going about their day and they're focused on their own world. And I think that's a necessity to change your experience of life. Like if you are growing up, I grew up, middle class. We weren't ever poor, but we weren't ever rich. We didn't really do many vacations, but I always had food and clothes and stuff like that. I never thought there was anything wrong. Um, but it's not necessarily how I want to live the rest of my life if I have a choice. You know what I mean? And so, because most of America, most of the TV shows and all that stuff are geared around that kind of life, and like that's what most people have, you have to detach from that amount of reinforcement in order to change. Because if you have that same stimuli all the time, that's what you're going to repeat to yourself too. And so I've had to create my own bubble over the last 5, 10 years in order to make any kind of change in my life. And it works. When you focus on what you want to focus on, when you focus on what you want to have, you get it. And it is interesting. Like I have less friends that I talk to now, but most of them are in the same financial situation as me. And like, so she was seeing that as a negative thing and how it's like decreasing empathy and it's cutting you off from the world and you're becoming a horrible person. And it was just interesting to um, hear that viewpoint. But at the same time, I understand And I think whatever's in your personal bubble is up to you. Like I'm in my bubble and I feel like I'm a good person, and so my bubble feels wonderful and very compassionate and loving. So
Well,
yeah, I don't
I
know.
agree. I actually agree with all of that. And, you look at someone like Bill Gates. He could certainly be in his own bubble and never come out, but he does. And he's completely criticized and attacked every time he does. It makes you wonder why he does it, you know,
Yeah,
because
give me
he
an
could just
example.
fade. Well, so he could fade from the but he put a lot of money into anti-pandemic. Like he in the last 5 years, he has spent a lot of money to solve world disease issues. Like he has put a ton of money into it in research and everything else. And then when it happened, people completely attacked him saying because he predicted it, he must have orchestrated it. and, and it's kind of fascinating to go, down this whole, where that thinking was. And, in the end, he's got to step away and still insulate himself and say, I'm doing good on the planet. My money is doing good on the planet. And we'll just keep doing those things. But yeah, I don't think, I think that that's changing. And I think 90s wealth was a very much me centered wealth. And I think new wealth is completely world centered wealth.
Mm, I love that. And I've always loved not to make a divide because there are extremely giving and compassionate men as well. But there was a book that Marie Forleo recommended a long time ago. I don't exactly remember what it's called, but Under the Something Sky, maybe. But it talked about how when you give women money, they share it, and when you give men money, they keep it. And there's more to it than that, but I feel the same way. Like I make a lot less money than my spouse, but I give a lot more of my money away, and it's just interesting. It's not good or bad. Like there's plenty of money to go around, but yeah, like new wealth, new sharing, new inclusion. Like there's a lot of good stuff happening right now.
I think so. And I can live inside of that hope of that the world is getting better. And there people can spout statistics saying that it's not. um,
It seems kind of hard to deny though. Like I think just the fact that people are speaking up more than ever means that people feel safe enough to speak up. Whereas, like back in the Middle Ages, you just get your head chopped off. Like that's not happening. I mean, yes, people are getting murdered. There's no doubt about that, but not in the same quantity that it was happening before. And now there are hordes of people around those situations, you know, getting justice done. So it is a very different time. It's maybe more turmoil than we're used to, but I feel like we're all heading in the right direction.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. Well, all we can do is our part anyway, so can't worry about the rest of it. We can just do what we're called to put out into the world and do that.
Absolutely. And the world can only get better through our effort of feeling joy and doing our best. And we can't do our best unless we're feeling joy. And so it's
Yeah.
just this circular thing. If we feel bad, we don't help anyone.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day on my walk. Like the saying, "Oh, I've been down for a couple days. Like I'm down for the count." Like that idea of like I'm so overwhelmed with all of this stuff going on that I went down. That's it. Like we're no help to anybody, not even ourselves, if we're just overwhelmed with all of this grief. And of course, feel it if you're feeling it. There's nothing. We're not making you wrong for feeling anything, but at the same time, it's not the most um, giving place to be. Yeah. Anyway, there's nothing wrong to feel. There's nothing wrong you can do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want us to know about you?
What I want everyone to know is that they are love and light. They are, there's kind of this spiritual bypassing thing that people are kind of concerned about, but the truth is, you are love and light. You are magic. You are all those things, and ah, I just so want you to feel it, because when you feel it, I see it shine out of your eyes, and I want to see those stars because it's so amazing. The world is simply better when we're all shining.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's safe to shine. Totally safe to shine. It's totally safe to wear your boots whenever you want to, even if it's just to the gas station. See, I've worn them. So, yeah, I will wear my
Excellent.
boots now.
Excellent.
I love that. Yeah, that is such a great message. And actually, some of our friends have come out with books on that topic in the last year. Astrid and Lainey, Be Sparkle Gold, and something else.
Permission to sparkle.
Permission to Sparkle. Yes. Awesome. And I can only imagine that all of your books are going to have that message in there somewhere.
It's true.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being such a great example of that, Jean. You do shine, you do sparkle, you do make miracles, and everyone who knows you is totally better for it.
Aw, well, thanks. And thanks for chatting with me. It's always fun to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. We'll have to have you back, and thank you for all of your contributions to the Ask an Alien show. And thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any comments for Jean, you can put them below, and you can go see her at jeanberrypresents.com. You can get her game, and you can find all the lovely things that she's doing in the world. Thanks. Love you guys. See you next
Thank
time.
you.